A classmate who works in the hospital sent me a message teasingly. Why did your wife come to our hospital for an abortion? Are you afraid that your mother's hospital won't allow it, and you're worried that if the baby is born, it will disrupt your two-person world? But I've been on a business trip for 2 months and haven't had the chance to be with my wife at all. My intuition told me that there was something wrong with the baby. I secretly went back home, but I found that when I was away, she really knew how to have fun. When I received my classmate's message, I subconsciously replied, "Go away. I've been looking forward to having a baby for half a year. If she really is pregnant, I'll make you the godfather." My classmate sent a surprised expression. Soon a call came through. "Brother, you're not kidding me, are you? I really saw her going for an abortion. If you need it, I'll send you a pregnancy examination form." I was slightly taken aback. I forced a stiff smile. "You were smart in school, and you're even smarter now. You guessed it right. I'm indeed afraid that it will disrupt our two-person world. Damn it. Stop joking around. Hurry up and send me the examination report so I can see if my wife is okay. Go to hell. She just had an abortion, which is equivalent to a confinement period after a small childbirth. Why don't you go home and stay with her?" The call ended. I immediately booked a flight home. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. I met Isabella in college. She had feelings for me, and I had feelings for her too. We were in a free love relationship. So far, we have been married for 2 years. At the beginning, we really didn't plan to have a child. After all, we didn't feel grown up enough and wanted to enjoy our two-person world. However, we started preparing for pregnancy half a year ago because our families were urging us strongly. Isabella also knew about this. If the baby was mine, she wouldn't have aborted it, and she definitely wouldn't have kept such a big thing from me. So, there was only one possibility. A terrifying guess flashed through my mind, and my fists unconsciously clenched tightly. I opened Isabella's chat dialog box, and the latest message was still from 3 days ago. On that day, we had a voice call for over an hour. We told each other how much we missed each other and chatted freely about life. We were still in the sweet period of our marriage. To be honest, I didn't really believe that she could do something to betray me. So, after getting off the plane, I tried my best to calm my emotions. I was going to see if this was just a misunderstanding. Ring, ring, ring. The phone rang. It was a call from one of my best friends. Her name was Victoria, and she was a complete rich second generation. She was quite talented in business. After graduating from college, she started a software technology company. With her own efforts and the support of her family, she managed to increase the market value of the company to 1 billion yuan in just 2 years. "What are you up to, handsome guy? I just got off the plane, and I'm back in town. What's up?" I need to ask you for a favor. I just hired a few software engineers, and they're all useless, but I have a big order that needs to be completed urgently. Can Henry help me out? I have a personal matter to deal with these few days. I'll help you after I'm done with it. You're a real bro, call me when you're done. If you need my help with anything, just say it directly. By the way, bro, how are you doing with the thing I mentioned to you last time? As long as you come to my company, you can name your salary. Now that you're married, it's impossible for me to introduce my sister to you. But I can take you to a clubhouse. Hee, I know you mean well, but your company is too far from where I am. I want to spend more time with my wife at home. You're so mushy. A real man should have great ambitions. Besides, don't you often go on business trips now? At most, I'll be on a business trip here for 2 months. If I go to your place, I don't think I'll be able to come back even once in half a year. Okay, stop. I don't want to talk to you anymore, you love-struck fool. If you have a good woman, she'll still be loyal to you even if you don't see each other for a year. But if she's A__, she can put a green hat on you in just half a month. Get lost. Wait for my call. Sure thing, Engineer Henry. I hung up the phone irritably and hailed a taxi to go home. Passing by the bustling streets, almost every place held sweet memories of Isabella and me. I took out my phone again and called Isabella. It took a while for her to answer. Honey, have you had lunch? I just finished eating. What are you doing? I'm watching TV at home. Why? Did you call me because you miss me? Yes, you guessed right. I'll be home in a while. Okay. When exactly? I'm not sure yet. Okay, then tell me in advance before you come home. Your wife will prepare a sumptuous dinner for you. Okay. She didn't sound any different on the phone. But just as I was about to put down my phone, I was suddenly attracted by a figure on the street. Outside the shopping mall we often went to, Isabella was wearing a thick cotton coat and a white fluffy rabbit hat. She was huddled in the corner of the crowd, covering the phone and talking to me. There was also a man standing next to her, leaning against the wall disdainfully and smoking. He took a puff of the cigarette and glanced at Isabella every now and then. I clenched my teeth instantly. I knew this man. He was a student from our same class, Lucas. Honey, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up now. Wait a moment. I stared intently at the two of them through the car window. At the same time, I waved my hand to signal the taxi driver to stop. Is there anything else, honey? It's almost my nap time. I was silent for a long time. It's okay. The call ended, and Isabella let out a deep sigh of relief. Lucas stubbed out his cigarette, waved his big hand, put his arm around Isabella's shoulder, and turned to walk into the shopping mall. I got out of the car and followed them. The two of them were strolling hand in hand, and their behavior was extremely intimate. Did she find herself a temporary boyfriend? The way they held hands, the state of holding hands, it was exactly the same as when she was with me. She hopped and skipped, constantly acting coyly. Even the route they were taking was the same one that Isabella and I often took, from the clothing section to the shoes and hat section. Finally, they came to the lingerie display cabinet. The only difference was that Isabella knew my preferences. She would go and choose the lingerie I liked herself, and then I would wait outside. But now she let Lucas choose those revealing, sexy, and even bikini-style lingerie and messily gesture them on her body. Even though I was far away, I could see the flames of desire flickering in Lucas's eyes, and Isabella's face was blushing all the way to her neck. She kept avoiding the eyes of the salesperson. In the end, the two of them selected 3 pieces. Isabella left with her face covered. Lucas was beaming with pride, and the corners of his mouth curled up at a 60 degrees angle. He quickly caught up and gave Isabella's but a pat. Isabella shuddered all over and playfully punched Lucas. The two of them went to the restaurant, whispering sweet nothings to each other. I felt like my back muscles were about to be crushed. I had countless times wanted to rush up and beat them up, but my remaining rationality told me not to do that. The best result of doing that would be an immediate divorce. But if we got divorced immediately, she would get half of my property. At present, there was no evidence of her actual infidelity. Although I wasn't a rich second generation, I was a senior engineer. Now was the time when I could earn the most money. My salary was high, and I also had a lot of side income. After getting married, in order to make our family's living conditions better, I had worked very hard. In the past 2 years, I had saved over 1,000,000 yuan just in my bank account. On the other hand, Isabella's family was different. Her family lived in the mountains, and the average annual income per person was less than 3,000 yuan. Their life was poor. After getting married, in order to show my respect to my mother-in-law, I even gave her a small apartment in the city. Everything her family had was provided by me. If we got divorced, Isabella would be able to get at least 500,000 yuan of the postmarital property. The house I gave them would probably also end up in her hands. Then, those 2 lovebirds would fly away together. Wouldn't I be at a huge loss? I couldn't let her succeed in such a good thing. I sat not far outside the restaurant, staring straight at the entrance. I don't know how long it took before my breathing gradually calmed down. I calmly went to the shoes and hat section, bought a baseball cap, and put on my head. Then I went back outside the restaurant and continued to keep watch. I wanted to get evidence of their infidelity and make Isabella leave the house with nothing. I wanted to end this absurd marriage. I wanted to take everything back and make Isabella go back to the mountains. At around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Isabella and Lucas came out arm in arm. I secretly took pictures with my camera. I followed them all the way to the hotel. I had planned to catch them in the act at the hotel, but the receptionist refused to tell me their room number no matter what. She insisted that I show her my marriage certificate. I immediately rushed home to get it, but I found that the lights in my house were on. Shadows kept flashing by the window. Judging from their body shapes and postures, I could tell that they were my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law. So what were they doing here? Their own daughter had an abortion and was supposed to be in confinement, but she didn't come home at night and went to a hotel with a man. Didn't they care at all? Were they so greedy for my 180 square meter luxury apartment? Fine, fine, fine. One person cheats and the whole family covers it up. Wonderful. I immediately took out my phone and called Isabella. At first, Isabella didn't answer. I called several times in a row before she finally picked up the phone. Her voice sounded groggy, as if she was half asleep. What's the matter, husband? I was asleep and just woke up. I sneered in my heart. She really knows how to pretend. I'm home. I just got off the plane. Come pick me up at the airport. The voice on the other end immediately rose in pitch. Ah, why did you come back so suddenly today? Because I miss you. Hurry up and come. It's a bit cold. I'll ask my brother to pick you up. I'm still in my pajamas. It's okay. You come. We haven't seen each other for 2 months. Let's go out and have some fun. Ah, all right then. I could tell that Isabella was very reluctant. Yes, she was probably still in the middle of having an affair with her lover in the hotel. How could she be willing to end it when she was in the mood? But I just want to play tricks on her like this. After about 10 minutes, I figured that Isabella should have gotten dressed and left the hotel. I immediately called her again. It's really cold. Wife, you don't have to come. I took a taxi and went straight home. You're home. Yeah. Isn't it just as exciting to have fun at home? The whole family should be together. Let's see how she's going to play this out. I hung up the phone and strode into the building. Just as I was about to enter the elevator door opened. My mother-in-law and brother-in-law looked terrified when they saw me. They were still holding big and small bags of luggage in their hands. Mom, Julian, what are you doing here? My mother-in-law secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva and smiled awkwardly. Since you were on a business trip, I was afraid Isabella would be bored alone, so I thought of moving here to keep her company. But she wasn't here. She'll be back soon. She was going to pick me up at the airport. I quickly took the things from my mother-in-law's hands and took them back inside. They didn't say a word once we got into the house. The house was now a mess because of them. The floor probably hadn't been mopped for 3 days. The trash bin was filled with all kinds of snack wrappers and beer cans. They had turned my home into a place for indulgence. Look, brother-in-law, I forgot. I came here yesterday. I drank all these beers and forgot to throw them away. Julian rubbed his head and gave an embarrassed smile. I nodded and said it was okay. When I was about to put their luggage in the room, they quickly grabbed it back. They hurriedly tidied up the messy inner room in no time. This wasn't what made me angry, so I just pretended not to notice. About 20 minutes later, Isabella came back. When she entered the door, she first glanced at her mother and brother. Both of them smiled naturally. Isabella immediately relaxed a lot. Husband, why did you come back so suddenly? On a whim, I just came back. I looked Isabella up and down. Why are you wearing so much? Aren't you hot? Isabella quickly took off her hat and her cotton coat. You call so urgently. I just put on a few clothes casually. I didn't expect it wasn't that cold outside. My mother-in-law looked a bit anxious when she saw this. People who are in confinement after giving birth are afraid of getting wind. Confinement after a miscarriage is also considered confinement, and anyone with a bit of common sense knows that. My mother-in-law quickly put the cotton coat back on her daughter. You've sweated after going out. Wait until the sweat subsides. Otherwise, you'll easily catch a cold. Isabella, of course, readily accepted it. She was just waiting for this excuse. Isabella, wearing the cotton coat, was about to go to the kitchen to cook. I stopped her. I'll cook today. Stop messing around, husband. You've been on a plane for so long. You must be exhausted. Julian, why don't you quickly pour your brother-in-law a glass of hot water? Julian quickly stood up. I guess this family of 3 felt too guilty towards me. This is my home. I'm not a guest. Julian, sit down. Don't worry about me. You and Mom came here specially. I'll treat you today. I just happened to learn a few dishes during these 2 months on a business trip. You guys can have a taste. I picked up the apron and went into the kitchen. My mother-in-law praised me from behind. What a good son-in-law. I sneered. The best is yet to come. After cutting the vegetables, I started stir-frying. Soon, a pungent smell filled the air. Isabella came in, covering her nose and frowning. Husband, what are you cooking? Why is it so spicy? Authentic Sichuan cuisine. Don't you like spicy food the most? I specifically learned from a Sichuan cuisine chef. I could see Isabella's expression twist a little. Her smile was a bit stiff. Is it all Sichuan cuisine? I have to ask Mom and Julian if they like it. I like spicy food. That silly Julian stuck his head in. He has never been in a relationship. He doesn't know that you can't eat spicy food during your period. And he doesn't know that you can't eat spicy food during confinement either. This kind of thing is not good for the body's recovery. And once you sweat from eating it, your pores will open. If the cold wind gets in, you'll have all sorts of problems in the future. You'd eat anything. Obviously, my mother-in-law knew better. She gave Julian a slap on the back of his head and said to me, "Son-in-law, Mom can't eat spicy food. Can you cook a few non-spicy dishes?" "It's okay, Mom. I ordered your favorite pig intestine noodles with chili oil for you. You can eat these dishes with it. It will neutralize the spiciness." These dishes are mainly for Isabella. She likes spicy food. My mother-in-law's face darkened. To be precise, every time she hears the words pig intestine noodles with chili oil, her face turns dark. When I first started dating Isabella and invited them to dinner, my mother-in-law probably thought she had to be a bit reserved for the first meeting, so she wanted something cheap. She casually said that her favorite food was pig intestine noodles with chili oil and that they were even more delicious than meat. So I ordered it for her more than a dozen times in a row. Once I saw her almost vomit from eating it. Of course, after I learned the truth later, I didn't order it anymore. But today I got her a big portion, and the pig intestines were in their original flavor. I asked the restaurant to make it like the famous braised intestines in 9 turns. I told them it was for the dog. The meal was ready, and the noodles also arrived. Isabella hesitated and didn't dare to pick up her chopsticks. My mother-in-law also looked at the noodles with a complicated expression. Only Julian, being silly, filled a big bowl of rice and stuffed it into his mouth, mouthful by mouthful. He even sweated from eating. I snorted coldly in my heart. One claims to like noodles the most, and the other is a woman who is in confinement after a miscarriage and even dared to go to a hotel. Is this too much for them? I urged my mother-in-law to eat quickly. At the same time, I picked up a chopstick full of extremely spicy string beans and put them into Isabella's bowl. "Wife, the food won't taste good when it gets cold." Isabella swallowed a mouthful of saliva and tentatively picked up the bowl and took a bite. In an instant, she opened her mouth and quickly went to drink water. The more you drink water with this extremely spicy food, the spicier it gets, because of wearing the cotton coat. Soon Isabella was sweating all over her head and had to unbutton her clothes. My mother-in-law was very anxious when she saw this, but she obviously had no way to deal with it. She herself was in a difficult situation. She could only bite the bullet and pick up a chopstick full of noodles from the bowl that still had foam on it. The moment she put it in her mouth, my mother-in-law's expression changed. She covered her mouth and ran into the bathroom. She probably vomited up her stomach. I quickly went over and asked what was wrong. My mother-in-law stammered and said, "These pig intestines don't seem to be washed clean. The smell of feces is too strong." Ugh, of course it's for the dog. Why would I ask them to wash it clean? Finally, the horrible meal was over. After entering the room, I quickly urged Isabella to take a shower. We hadn't seen each other for 2 months. Isabella knew exactly what I wanted to do. She must be resistant to it in her heart. Taking a shower before the sweat has subsided is like asking for trouble, but she had to force herself to go. After she left, I quickly took out Isabella's phone. She was quite cautious. On the surface, there was no contact information between her and Lucas at all, not to mention finding the chat records, but it didn't matter. As a senior coder, this is just a piece of cake. I quickly implanted a virus program in her phone. I wrote this virus just for fun in the early days. It can not only monitor chat records, record audio, and locate, but it can even secretly turn on the camera to record videos. Today's torment is just an appetizer. I'm not a good person, and I'm not that magnanimous. When I love someone, I can give everything. But if I'm betrayed, I will turn ruthless. Do you like having an affair? Do you also like having your lover pick out sexy lingerie for you? I will make you have chronic health problems. And finally, I will kick you back to the mountains. I will make you regret everything you've done, brother-in-law. While Isabella was taking a shower, Julian called me outside the door. When I went out, he said to me, "Brother-in-law, can you find me a job? Did you quit your previous job?" So far, I have found at least 3 jobs for Julian. They were all places where he could just relax, and the salary was not low. But this good-for-nothing fellow is impossible to help. He quit one job after another. Julian scratched his head awkwardly. I drank too much that day and scolded the manager. "There's still no good place yet. You'll have to wait a bit longer." "Then you really have to put in some effort, brother-in-law. I just started dating a girlfriend, and she wants me to have a stable job." I responded punctually. Treating me like this, and still expecting me to find a job for him. He deserves to be a bachelor for the rest of his life. Isabella came into the room all wet after taking a shower. I had achieved my goal for the moment, and immediately on the pretext of being too tired, I gave up on the flirtation. The look in Isabella's eyes at that moment was truly something to behold. In the middle of the night, I vaguely heard Isabella's phone ring. I turned over and pretended to be groggy as I continued to sleep. Isabella secretly glanced at me and tiptoed out of the room. I immediately turned on my phone to monitor her. "Isabella, maybe we should stop contacting each other. I feel really sorry for Henry. Lucas, baby, I love you. I can give you happiness. He's not at home most of the time. Isn't it great that I'm here to accompany you? Am I not good in bed?" "Isabella, you are good, but I'm afraid Henry will find out someday." "Lucas, don't be afraid of him. If he finds out, just divorce him and I'll marry you. I can give you everything he can." "Lucas, do you know that there was a rich second generation named Victoria in our university? He's currently recruiting people and has invited me to join. The annual salary is 800,000 yuan, which is several times more than Henry's." "Isabella, Victoria, I think I've heard Henry mention him. He and Henry should be friends." "Lucas, come on. How could such a rich guy like Victoria think highly of Henry? Victoria has only a handful of friends, and I know all of them. Henry is definitely not one of them." "Lucas, but it's different for me. I know Victoria's sister, and we have a very good relationship. Trust me, don't be afraid. I can take care of you, Isabella." "But Lucas, stop with the buts, baby. Make up an excuse to come out tomorrow. I want to finish what we didn't finish today. I'm bursting with energy." Hee hee. I laughed as I monitored their chat records. Victoria. He actually pinned his hopes of crossing social classes on my best friend. And he even claimed to have a good relationship with Victoria's sister. The key is that this Isabella actually believed him. That bastard Lucas was in the same university as me before. But as far as I remember, he was just a shameless sycophant who wanted to curry favor with the rich. Victoria's sister probably never even gave him a second look, right? It's really scary how much he's fantasizing. I really want to see how you, Lucas, are going to get into Victoria's company. After the conversation, Isabella secretly laid down again, and I pretended not to know throughout. Early the next morning, Isabella told me that her best friend had asked her to go out, and then she left. I found a coffee shop, and, while sipping coffee, monitored her because of the camera swinging back and forth. I even knew which hotel Isabella and Lucas went to. The two of them got straight to the point almost immediately. There was hardly any unnecessary conversation throughout. When they got to the room, they took off their clothes and started having sex. Loud sounds came one after another. Only then did they start opening up to each other. The general idea was what I already knew from last night. He wanted Isabella to be his mistress without worry, and he claimed to have the ability to back her up. Obviously, Isabella felt much more at ease. As they talked, they got more and more into it. They started discussing the abortion that had happened before. This was exactly what I most wanted to hear and record. After all, it's too difficult to take pictures of them in bed. But currently, combined with the chat records and their audio recordings, the evidence of infidelity can be solidly established. Isabella said, somewhat regretfully, that she actually should have kept the baby and let me raise it after it was born. Even if we got divorced in the future, it would be great if the child could directly call Lucas dad. After all, he's the biological father. Lucas was so excited when he heard this that he immediately said he could make her pregnant again. Isabella laughed and complained. She said that she had eaten the Sichuan cuisine I had specially prepared for her yesterday, sweated, and then took a shower. There was both cold wind and hot air. Now, she was really afraid of getting some lingering health problems. Lucas was indeed very good at coaxing girls. He immediately said that no matter what happened to Isabella, as long as she wanted to marry him, he would marry her at any time. Isabella was deeply touched. The two of them had sex again while they were still in the mood. I silently saved all the evidence and made a phone call. I deliberately called at their most crucial moment. "What's the matter, husband? Where are you?" "I'm in a restaurant. Come home right away." After saying that, I hung up the phone. Isabella panicked. "It's over. His attitude isn't very good. Does he suspect us?" Lucas seemed rather calm. Judging from his tone, something seemed off. "It doesn't matter. I'll go back with you and see what he means." "Isabella, want to be exposed if you go back with me?" "Lucas, what's there to be exposed? He doesn't have evidence of our infidelity. If he's narrow-minded and directly mentions divorce, then we'll divide the family property with him. It's a win-win situation." I got home first. About half an hour later, Isabella and Lucas showed up together. My mother-in-law panicked as soon as she saw them. "Daughter, who is this?" "He's my classmate and also Henry's classmate. We just had a meal together, so I brought him over to take a look." Both my mother-in-law and Julian looked at me. My face was cold. "Are you sure you're just classmates?" Even a fool could tell that the situation was tense. All four people in front of me were in the know. It was obvious at a glance. My mother-in-law quickly came over to suit the situation. "Son-in-law, aren't you classmates? It's normal to have a meal together." "Daughter, you should have told Henry in advance before bringing a classmate home. He's so narrow-minded. Would have been okay if I told him." Isabella's attitude also changed. Her tone took a sharp turn for the worse. She seemed to be ready to just give up and not care anymore. Lucas took a step forward. "Henry, let's just be straightforward. Isabella and I had a good relationship when we were in university, and we do occasionally keep in touch. Today, Isabella told me that you haven't been treating her well, so I came here specifically to ask about it. Who the hell do you think you are? Do you think you're qualified to meddle in my family affairs?" "Yeah, who do you think you are?" Julian had been holding back for a long time. He rolled up his sleeves and punched Lucas. Isabella quickly pulled Julian away. "Julian, what are you doing?" "Sister, why are you stopping me? My brother-in-law treats you so well. He provides you with food and clothes and gives you everything. He even found a job for me. How can you do this to my brother-in-law?" Julian had an outburst. My mother-in-law immediately slapped him. "What are you talking nonsense about? Who said your sister is having an affair? If you can't speak properly, just shut up." Then she quickly came over to smooth things over. "Son-in-law, Julian can't control his mouth. You know Isabella's character. She's not the kind of person who would do such a thing. Daughter, you quickly explain it to him. And you're a classmate, right? If you're just a classmate, don't come here and stir things up. Just leave quickly." The two of them didn't budge. Isabella wanted to escalate the situation and took the initiative to add fuel to the fire. "There's nothing to explain. He and I are just classmates, and he's like a confidant. I just like to talk to him about some personal things. Think whatever you want." Isabella sat on the sofa, indifferently turned on the TV, and started watching. Lucas smiled and actually came into the room and sat down as well. Julian cursed and went up to grab his clothes, trying to drive him out. Lucas said, "It's just about a job, little brother. I can also find one for you. How about an annual salary of 200,000 yuan? Julian was taken aback for a moment, and then he tightened his grip on the clothes. "Who the hell do you think you are? You're bragging about giving me an annual salary of 200,000 yuan. Heh, I'm just an ordinary person now, but I'll soon have a job with an annual salary of 800,000 yuan. As soon as he heard this annual salary, Julian was so scared that he immediately let go and ran to Isabella's side. "Sister, is your classmate really that amazing? He's always been very capable. He's a senior software engineer." Isabella was so proud that her nose was almost in the air. Both my mother-in-law and Julian were shocked. They kept looking at me from time to time, as if they were doubting why, as a senior software engineer, I was so mediocre. Lucas stood up. "Little brother, leave your job to me. If I can't find you a job with an annual salary of 200,000 yuan, I'll give you the 200,000 yuan myself. You can just enjoy the benefits at home." "Really?" Julian's eyes sparkled. Lucas sneered. Of course, it's true. If I had a brother-in-law in the future, why would he need to go out and work? Having fun every day would be the most tiring thing to do, and I definitely wouldn't let my mother-in-law live in such a small house. That would be so uncomfortable. Money is meant to be spent. Being stingy is no good. Julian felt like he was on cloud nine. He looked at Lucas with admiration. Obviously, there was also a glimmer of hope in my mother-in-law's eyes. He stopped his verbal attacks on Lucas. Julian asked, "Awesome, bro. Do you have a girlfriend?" Lucas looked very proud. "Not yet, but I'm looking for one according to Isabella's standard." It was obvious to anyone what he meant. So I simply spoke up. "Since you like her so much, how about I give her to you?" My mother-in-law's eyes widened. Julian's eyes sparkled. On the contrary, Isabella and Lucas remained calm, as if they had expected this. Isabella also stood up. "Then, let's get a divorce. We can part ways amicably." "Okay, we can, but you have to leave the house with nothing." As soon as she heard this, Isabella immediately refused. "Why should I leave the house with nothing? I'm entitled to half of the family property." "Don't you know why?" I said meaningfully. Isabella and Lucas exchanged a look and snorted coldly. "We've already said that we're just classmates. If you want me to leave the house with nothing, you have to show the evidence." "If you have the evidence, I'll do it." "Yeah, old classmate. You may be narrow-minded, but your brain shouldn't be. Do you need me to explain the marriage law to you?" The two of them launched a direct attack on me. My mother-in-law and Julian also started taking sides. "Julian, brother-in-law, let's part ways amicably. What's this about leaving the house with nothing? Even an outsider like me thinks it's ridiculous." My mother-in-law, "Alas, I've long heard that there are cracks in your marriage. If it really can't be saved, then forget it. But leaving the house with nothing is not acceptable. My daughter has been with you for 2 years. How can you make her leave the house with nothing just because of a misunderstanding?" I really wanted to say, "What the hell kind of cracks are there? Don't you know how well I treated your daughter before? If you're materialistic, just admit it. Why come up with so many excuses?" "Me? So you don't agree? Do you think I would agree?" "You have to show the evidence." "If there is evidence, I promise I won't say a word of nonsense and will leave immediately." Seeing her attitude, I smiled and took out the photos. Isabella and Lucas were slightly shocked when they saw them. "You followed me? What's so strange about that? Are you convinced now?" "Convinced of what? Just having photos of us holding hands doesn't prove anything. Even if I really slept with Lucas, it's useless if you don't have any substantial evidence." Isabella was furious. She completely turned hostile. Lucas sneered constantly beside her. He even took Isabella's hand in front of me to provoke me. "Do you like taking pictures? Come on, take some close-ups. We'll stand right in front of you and let you take them. To be honest with you, we slept together and we even had an abortion. What can you do about it?" I glanced at my mother-in-law and Julian. They were so arrogant now. It was as if they had already stepped onto a ship riding the wind and waves and were fantasizing about the scene of getting a lot of money in the future. "Come on, stop being so long-winded. Let's get divorced quickly. Henry, don't you think this is really frustrating?" Julian showed his true colors and started barking like a dog. My mother-in-law looked at me coldly and went to drink water on her own. But as soon as the water reached her mouth, the next second, she spat it out. My phone played Isabella's lewd voice, including the conversation between the two of them in the hotel about the abortion. It was all recorded clearly. Now the four of them stopped acting tough. They were all panicked. Isabella was the first to react. She quickly took out her phone to find flaws. Seeing that there was no result, Lucas took over, but he still couldn't find anything. My smile grew wider. "Trash. Do you really think you deserve to be called a senior software engineer?" Lucas's face darkened, and he directly threw his phone to the ground. I ignored him and told Isabella, "If you don't want these recordings and more evidence in my hands to spread on the internet, sign the divorce agreement to leave the house with nothing immediately." I slapped the divorce agreement that I had already prepared on the table. Isabella gritted her teeth, looking almost the same as when I was angry. Lucas flew into a rage out of humiliation and said, "Leaving the house with nothing is just leaving the house with nothing. What's the big deal? In the future, I'll earn a lot of money and buy a bigger house." Julian also added fuel to the fire beside him. Sign it, sister. Look at my brother-in-law. He's young and promising with an annual salary of 800,000 yuan. Buying such a crappy house would be a piece of cake for him. Goodness, he changed his words really quickly. He was calling me brother-in-law again. Lucas was so excited when he heard this that the smile on his face was even harder to suppress than an AK. My mother-in-law didn't say anything and seemed to give her tacit approval. Forced into a corner, Isabella signed the agreement. That night, she, her mother, and her brother moved out of my house. The house that I had given to her mother before was also taken back by me. I changed the locks overnight and threw away all the crappy things inside. Fortunately, I bought this house early and it was in my name. I was so busy on business trips after marriage that I didn't have time to transfer the ownership. I spent the whole night cleaning up. I was a little tired, but I was extremely happy inside. Getting rid of that underscore made me feel so relieved. On the day when the divorce procedures and property division were completely settled, I called my best friend, Victoria. Is there a position for me if I go to work for you? Definitely. Are you really coming? If you really come, I'll kick that engineer manager out right away. I'm taking a flight in the afternoon and will arrive tomorrow morning. Awesome. Really awesome. Don't move after you get off the plane. I'll send a grand welcoming party to pick you up. Haha. The next morning, I arrived in Victoria City. This guy wasn't kidding me. The welcoming ceremony at the airport was almost as grand as that for a president. After arriving at the company, the two of us had lunch. After the meal, Victoria wanted me to go and rest first, but I refused. I said that I could only earn money if I started working quickly. Victoria absolutely refused, saying that I was too tired after such a long flight and insisted on having her secretary send me to the hotel. Early the next morning, I went out feeling refreshed, but I saw Isabella, Lucas, including her mother and her brother, all appearing at the hotel entrance together. They looked tired, as if they had just gotten off the plane. Why are you here? Julian asked me, staring at me. Do I have to report to you in advance where I appear? No need. You must be here to relax after the divorce. You're depressed, but we're really happy. My brother-in-law is here to start working. Lucas was filled with a strong sense of superiority after hearing this, and held his head high. Isabella took a step forward and asked me, why are you haunting us? Did you secretly install software on my phone and follow us here? Henry, why are you so despicable? You were the one who said we should get a divorce, and now you're the one pestering us. Are you crazy? You're the one who's crazy. You have a bad brain. And are your eyes also bad? Your phone has already been thrown. Are you blind? I directly retorted. I didn't plan to pay attention to these clowns. But Isabella was so shameless that she insisted on sticking close to me. Henry, how dare you call me crazy? You're not only crazy, but you're also __. When Lucas heard his beloved woman being insulted, he rushed up to hit me. But I kicked him to the ground with one kick. He landed on his back. Didn't you know that I learned Sanda in the past, when we were in university? Lucas gritted his teeth. Julian also seemed eager to try, but he was deterred by my gaze. He and his mother helped up their son-in-law. Don't be like him. This guy is not only poor, but also ugly. We don't even bother to hit him. If we really beat him up so that his face is all messed up, he probably won't be able to find a girlfriend in the future, and the Henry family will probably have no descendants. We won't do such a despicable thing. This was a roundabout way of praising Lucas for being handsome. Lucas's anger subsided a lot, and he raised his head to tidy up his hair. Of course, I have both good looks and strength. Many girls chased me when we were in university. Even Victoria's sister, brother-in-law. Do you mean the boss's sister? That's her, and I called her before I came. I believe that after we rest well tomorrow, she will come to pick us up in person. Julian asked tentatively, does she still like you? Then what about my sister? Lucas shook his head calmly. She likes me, but I don't like her. I only like your sister. Understand? These words really touched Isabella and the mother-son pair. They looked at Lucas with both relief and admiration. I cursed idiot out loud. Just as I was about to leave, a Bentley stopped at the hotel entrance. A woman in a professional suit with an amazing figure and an air of a capable woman walked down. It was Daphne, Victoria's sister. The four of them were a bit at a loss and stared blankly at Daphne. Lucas was the most obvious. The arrogant look in his eyes just now was immediately replaced by a look of longing. "See, this is Daphne here to pick us up." Lucas almost immediately abandoned Isabella beside him. He strode over. "Miss Daphne, thank you for coming to pick us up in person." "It doesn't matter," Daphne smiled. As soon as they saw the beauty smile, Julian and his mother seemed to heave a sigh of relief. It was as if they were saying that their son-in-law-to-be really hadn't lied. Julian held his head high and gave me a teasing smile. "See that? A Bentley. This is what I call style and grandeur. I'm going to have an annual salary of 200,000 yuan. Ha!" The corners of his mother's mouth also turned up wildly, and she vigorously shook Isabella's arm. "Daughter, you really have a good eye. We found a good match. This is tens of thousands of times better than this Henry. It must be very comfortable to ride in a Bentley, right? It should be very comfortable. Lucas is definitely better than Henry. I've never been wrong in my judgment. We'll ride in a Bentley every day from now on," Isabella said arrogantly and led her mother and brother to the car. But just as she was about to open the car door, Daphne suddenly asked Lucas, "Are you Henry's secretary?" Lucas, question mark. Isabella, question mark. The mother and son, question mark. The four of them stood there stunned. Lucas stammered and said, I'm not a secretary. I was invited to work as a senior engineer in Victoria's company. It's me, Sister Daphne. My name is Lucas. We went to university together. I'm your junior. Don't you remember me? Sorry, I've forgotten. But Victoria only asked me to pick up one person, and that's Henry. Daphne walked around the car, reached out, and took my bag. "Henry, Victoria has been talking about you all day. I didn't expect you to really come. I thought Victoria was joking. Hey, didn't your wife come with you? We got divorced." "Divorced?" Daphne's big eyes froze for a moment. "Well, that's good. I'll take you to the company first. Let's have dinner together tonight. Consider it a welcome dinner for you." The four of them stared blankly at this scene. Lucas was the first one who couldn't hold back. "Sister Daphne, I called you yesterday. Are you sure you're here to pick up this loser, Henry?" Daphne's face immediately turned cold. "Watch your mouth. I get so many calls every day. How would I know who you are?" But it was really Victoria who called and asked me to come here. "Then ask him." "Don't ask me." Lucas swallowed a mouthful of saliva and immediately took out his phone to call Victoria. To prove that he was telling the truth, he even turned on the speakerphone. "Hello, who is this?" Goodness, there wasn't even a note for him. Lucas was embarrassed, and the other three were even more embarrassed. They lowered their heads as if they wanted to find a crack to crawl into. "General Manager Daphne, it's me, Lucas." Oh, Lucas, what do you want?" "I just got off the plane and arrived at the hotel. When do you think you'll come to pick me up?" "I see. Do you know Henry?" "Henry? I know him." "Why?" "Get in touch with him. He has now become the general manager of your engineering department. Your employment situation needs to be approved by him." "I'm still in a meeting. I'll hang up now." The call ended. The four of them were stunned as if they had been turned into stone. I gave them a cold look and said to Daphne, "Let's go." "Wait." Lucas ran over and grabbed the car door. "Henry, no. General Manager Henry, I'm sorry for what I did before. Please give me a chance. I really need this job. I can do it." "I don't think you can." "I really can. My father is still lying in the hospital waiting for treatment. I really need this annual salary. Your father is in the hospital, and you came out to have an affair and make false promises to others." "Lucas," I slapped. Julian pulled Lucas over and slapped in the face. "Damn it. So, you've been playing tricks on us all along. You were bragging to us before you even got the job. And you slept with my sister and cuckolded my brother-in-law. Now I can't even find a job, and my girlfriend will definitely break up with me. You promised me an annual salary of 200,000 yuan. Give me back my love." Julian started beating Lucas up. Isabella and her mother quickly rushed over. "Husband, I was wrong. Please forgive me, okay? I really was wrong. Son-in-law, everyone makes mistakes. Look, I'll hit her right now." The old woman grabbed Isabella's hair and started hitting her face. She hit her quite hard, and it made me feel rather pleased. Daphne was already shocked. I explained, "It's all in the past." Thud. Lucas, who was bleeding from his nose and mouth, suddenly knelt down in front of the car. General Manager Henry, I will break up with this underscore underscore right away. Please show mercy. Who are you calling a underscore underscore? The three of them rushed forward and beat Lucas up again until he was covered in blood. Isabella was hitting him and scolding him at the same time. It's all your fault, you bastard. You dragged me to the hotel when I was drunk in the bar. Without you, none of this would have happened. Isabella, even though you're my sister, I have to say you're a underscore. You can't control yourself, and you're still scolding others. You've lost a great future. I'm going to hit you. Julian suddenly raised his hand and gave Isabella a big slap in the face. I couldn't even tell who was hitting whom as the four of them fought. So I simply got in the car and left. As soon as I arrived at the company, Isabella called me and said that she had reported Lucas for rape. She wanted me to let it go and take her back. She must be daydreaming. Leaving aside whether she can find someone else to take her in, she should first take care of her health. She caused so much trouble during her confinement. She'll have a hard time later. Julian also called me, seeing that I wouldn't give in. He actually asked me to find him another job, saying that he really wanted to get married. I was really speechless at how shameless he could be. So I blocked them all and refused to answer any unfamiliar numbers. God, it was finally quiet. I started to throw myself into my work. About half a year later, I got some news. Lucas's rape charge wasn't established, but he was retaliated against by Julian, who was furious. It was said that all three of his legs were broken, especially the middle one, which was shattered into pieces, and even a god couldn't save it. The family of three wanted to go back to the mountains and hide secretly, but they were taken away by the police at home. Julian was suspected of intentional injury and would face criminal punishment, and also had to bear a large amount of compensation. This made the already poor family situation even worse. Isabella's health really deteriorated. She was in so much pain at home all day, saying that her bones felt like they were about to break, but the family was too poor to buy medicine. Later, it seemed that she was married off for a bride price to a bachelor and was constantly subjected to domestic violence. There were gossip rumors that the bachelor, taking advantage of the fact that there were no men left in Isabella's family, seemed to have made her and her mother serve him together. Anyway, it was really shocking. I'm doing well in every way. I'm with Daphne now. She has been chasing me for 2 years. Over the past 2 years, the boss, Victoria, has been creating all kinds of opportunities for his sister, really hoping that I would become his brother-in-law. Well, it's impossible not to be touched. But at that time, I didn't want to start a new relationship. I really loved Isabella once, but my sincere love was wasted. Even though I got divorced, I remained calm for a long time. It wasn't until a long time later when the company went on a team-building trip to the mountains and Daphne went with us. When a classmate sent a surprised expression when I found that I felt very sorry for her, I suddenly realized, seize the day and pick the flowers while you can. My heart started beating for someone again. I took the initiative to carry Daphne on my back for a long way and confess to her along the way. Daphne cried all the way, wetting my shoulder. Now we are very happy. We have reached the stage of discussing marriage. All the past things have become like clouds and smoke to me and have dissipated completely.